Oh, Skytale dot finance if you want to like SKYTALE dot finance. Oh, Mikhail is actually sharing. So yeah, there's I'll drop a quick summary once the folks join. So actually, thank you, Ernest. So let me actually drop it right now. So there we go. Cool.
They're an accounting platform.
Yeah, when I had a look at it, them that were like doing accounting, it's kind of like a mixture between Xerio and Parcel and lots of other things. They kind of capture all the stuff from budgeting to accounting and swapping and even adding liquidity to liquidity pools and putting it into this one interface. So across all different networks, kind of pretty dope. And they have even a grants proposal prepared. And I was like, yeah, before kind of this gets submitted to the forum and you get, build up consensus. Let's connect with the Treasury Department and see how you guys think about them and kind of their quote unquote offering or what's basically the grants proposal is about. So. Enrico says, sorry?
That sounds good. It's one of the things whenever, it's of course, so many platforms and projects are just trying to get adoption and usage. And so, it's.
It's attractive. Like the fee business model is very attractive. It's all, which one to choose. It's always the question. Like, but at least you gotta, yeah.
There's some harrowing statistics around how much money different platforms are making, and pro tip, not a lot.
Yeah, imagine just Binance. There's a volume of $65 billion trading on the platform, like on average daily, which is insane. If they charge like 0.1% fee on every transaction on average, this is $65 million of revenue daily. Just a portion of that is already, totally nice or fine. But yeah.
Yeah, and that's the problem so James from Governator did a bunch of market research on like how many Web3 platforms and projects are making money, and none of them are. Like Snapshot, which is critical, and this is the big thing. Like everybody keeps ideating that and the like. So anyway, it's an interesting thing. I'm watching it. Parcel's paying us to use their product, and by the way, I love Parcel. Like, so it makes for a hard switch.
Indeed, that's definitely not sustainable. So curious to see how this will look like. Hopefully, like the MiCA bill here in Europe will kind of allow for more adoption from European customers before all the regulation gets exported to the US. We do all the hard grind work, and then you take the best pieces and bits and build them in. But maybe the SEC has totally different plans. I think it's all about whether we manage to reach customers or users or contributors, whatever you want to call them. So
yeah.
I see. Mm-hmm. Yeah, this would be dope. Actually, I have no objections. But let me see. Oh, good. Me jamming about Mika. Cool. Yeah, Enrico actually said he's in. Surprised I can't see him. Enrico, by the way, is the founder of Skytale, whom I've met 2 days ago, I think, or it was yesterday. Kind of give me a quick walkthrough. Pretty dope. Seem to be serious about what they're doing, and platform is pretty cool. Just Just figuring out if and when he's going to join. Can you add me? I see the participants. Oh, he doesn't have permission. Oh gosh. Why did I? Okay. So, yeah, this is not ideal. Yeah.
It happens.
Let me see. He doesn't have a guest pass and a diplomat stack. There we go. Yeah. Try it again. Yeah, he actually said that they had a demo recently in the relationship. So I thought, he certainly has a diplomat tag and didn't bother. Well, surprise. Hey, Groot.
Hey, sorry for being a little bit late. Apologies.
Yeah, I'm actually holding up everyone here because we can't get Enrico to join.
Okay.
He sees our channel, but I just gave him the diplomats tag.
Okay. Well, you're working on that, which is fine. We can just kind of start, and then we'll just stop when he hops on. That way, we don't lose any time.
Sure.
Okay. So, I guess in terms of updates, have you started on that already? I'm kind of jumping in at the other end of it. And is this Nikhil's screen that is up?
There is.
Okay. I would like to give one comment, which is I finally managed to pay our bill so that our websites will continue to run. So that's a good thing. We had an issue with our payments vendor, but that's been settled. They've made that payment. So that's my only update in terms of things that we needed to take care of. I see Enrico is on. Did we want to take the 10 minutes, Enrico? Are you? And I'll let Senna take over, but is he ready to present?
I think so. Hey, Enrico. Glad you made it.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes,
Yeah,
we
can hear you fine. Sorry for the bumpy ride. Let me put it this way: it's not the first time that this is happening. So happens every once in a while. You get stuck. But you made it. You're here. I would still suggest that after the call, perhaps we take you to the relationships guild and you get onboarded by a talent coordinator and get the necessary tech so this doesn't happen again. But cool, you're here, and let me first of all, thank you for your time. I actually have to jump right after the introduction because I figured I have another call, but I would love to introduce Enrico Skytale and kind of hand it over to him so he can give our Treasury department a demo. So kind of, as I said, I would like to welcome Enrico. He's the CEO and founder of Skytale, and Skytale is basically all-in-one FinOps platform, allowing users, individuals and businesses to manage their portfolio, doing accounting and reporting, basically with no coding experience. Pretty dope. I connected my wallet yesterday and kind of experimented a little bit. I think it's quite handy to use. And what do we do here in the Treasury Department? We experiment with tools, right? There are all these kinds of and types of different tools, and who knows which one is going to succeed or which one is going to be adopted and used. And therefore, we want to be open to all the opportunities and give people the platform to actually show what they are capable of, and giving them the voice. And so the purpose of this call is not just to give a 5 to 10 minute demo and maybe a quick Q&A afterwards. And of course, you can always take it away async and discuss it in the chat. But this is also to allow you to see what the platform is about, so you can have an opinion about the grants proposal that Skytale has prepared. Because what they are ultimately also looking for here is building a strategic partnership with BanklessDAO. And the idea is to have the DAO or BDAO financially supporting our members, actually with access to the platform. And maybe Enrico can afterwards dive into how the proposal look like, and maybe with additional feedback and support perhaps from the Treasury Department community here, we can kind of help the folks do what they want to do with the support if we like it. So this is the kind of TLDR. I unfortunately have to jump right afterwards, but I don't want to distract anymore and would like to hand it off to Enrico, who can continue to move the needle. Thank you.
Thank you. Enrico,
Yeah.
do you have a presentation to share on the screen, or how do we want to handle it?
Of course, I'm more than happy to share my screen so we can deep dive into Skytale. I will show you off how the platform works. Again, sorry for being late to the party, but yeah, great to be here.
Okay.
Let me share first my screen. I hope you see it.
Yes.
Fantastic. So first of all, thank you for being here. Let's start with the why we built Skytale. Well, everything started with my personal experience investing in crypto since 2016. As you know better than me, at the time was way easier, managing only Ethereum and Bitcoin. Now is a mess. That's a lot of new tokens, layers, multiple protocols, and so on, and networks. So the ambition is to consolidate in a single view multiple accounts coming from multiple sources. By sources, I mean, as you see on top of my screen, we currently manage 16 different chains. Most of them are EVM ones, but also we started supporting non-EVM such as Near and Solana. So the whole point is, like other competitors, think about DBank, Ethereum, Zapper. The ambition is to consolidate, aggregate on-chain activities into a single view. The second point is about accounting, and I will show you later how it works. So allowing, think about like a protocol or a power users or fintech, because in the end, our ultimate goal is to be ready for the mass adoption that will come hopefully later, to be onboarded in a proper way into the Web3 space, and ultimately bookkeeping. So allowing users to report their taxes. Think about how can I report my taxes for my staking activities happening in 2021. It seems that nobody has an answer, or even better, it seems that you need to use multiple solutions at the same time. So that's why we call this kind of problem a solution in pieces problem. You need to use multiple solutions in order to achieve your goals. Our ambition is to offer a one-stop shop solution, allowing the user to do tracking, accounting, and bookkeeping.
Okay, can I interrupt real quick and say
of
that
course.
We probably, from the perspective of the Treasury Department, if you could jump straight to the accounting and bookkeeping, not necessarily for tax purposes, but where our interest would be on this call in particular would be whether or not we could use it to track transactions and for reporting to the DAO, the activities of the DAO.
Yeah,
So,
here we go. I moved it to the history page, our search engine, allowing a Treasury, for example, to combine together multiple filters in order to find the transactions you were looking for. Here, I already selected Ethereum, but I can also select Polygon. Oops, in the meantime, as usually happens in every demo, something that's wrong. So basically, in this case, the session is expired. Give me just a second, please.
Totally fine. I've done enough demos and had them flop on me spectacularly.
So in this case, the session is expired, and I received an email because we are managed. One of the ways that you can authenticate is through the magic link. It's a passwordless service. So here we go. I just confirmed using my phone, which is also a good second factor way of authenticating. The platform, the dashboard is loading again. And here we go. As I was saying, this historical search engine is allowing you to combine together multiple filters to find the transactions that you were looking for. I already loaded a number of wallets. Here you see all the wallets I loaded from multiple networks. Well, if I select Ethereum, you will see in a very few milliseconds only my Ethereum transactions across all of my wallets registered in my portfolio.
And are you able to tag those? I see an edit kind of.
Exactly. You can edit and you can add your tags. You can add standard tags. Those standard tags are coming as. So according to the customer interviews, the customer discovery we run so far, we identified a set of standard tags. Think about payroll. So you can flag a transaction with payroll because you paid collaborators within the Treasury, or you can create your own custom tags, of course.
And is there a way to allow for a working group to tag, so someone who isn't necessarily a signer on the wallet or doesn't own the wallet, again, from the perspective of an organization, to be able
Of course, you can do. Let me jump quickly into the overview. Some of those wallets are shared. That means think about like a team, a Treasury team. You don't need to load, if you're a member of the same team, you don't need to load your wallets again from the scratch. If I register a wallet, what I need to do is just to share across a group. In this case, within the Skytale Treasury. But you can create your own group and share the same wallets across multiple members. Practically speaking, means if I enter as a member of the same group, I will see not just the wallets I created, but also the tags I added, or another member, the admin member added to our wallet.
Okay, and I see obviously the premium tags. Is this a cost service? And
let me explain. Let me explain how our revenue model works. So basically, we offer Skytale. First of all, the basic tier is free forever, one wallet, one chain. Then we move to the premium tier. If you want to add tags, if you want to add notes, or if you want to register unlimited wallets, is a premium service, and we can offer that through a monthly subscription or through an NFT. So we also built our own NFT now. That means that they can be used as a pass. That means if you buy and hold one of our NFT into your MetaMask, we detect it and we allow you to access as a premium member. That is a part of the offer we wrote in the proposal for Bankless. So in this case, the proposal would be if Bankless is willing to buy a number of NFT, then Bankless can distribute the NFT across members, board members, or across the community in order to access Skytale as a premium service. For how long, it really depends. We can decide. We can basically figure out for how long. It could be for 6 months or could be for 1 year, for example. And we can also specify for what features.
So I realize, I mean, things get started late, and I apologize for having to hurry this along, but we have some other agenda items to get to. Is there one feature that, or maybe the next 2 minutes to show us anything else that you might want to show, and then maybe we open it up 5 minutes for questions, and then we can move along. And again, my apologies. I'm not trying to be
no problem at all.
Okay.
No problem at all. Filters, tags, notes, those are the main features I wanted to show to the Treasury. Also, you see here the historical fiat value of each transaction. On top of that, you can combine, of course, multiple filters. I showed you only the chain filter, but you can combine multiple filters together. For example, show me only the Ethereum transaction happened in the last 30 days that I sent, for example. So our filter engine is pretty flexible. You can combine together your own filters. And as I was saying, you can also add as a filter your tags. Imagine that Bankless create your own tags. You can use them as an additional filter.
Perfect. I would also encourage people, if they want to open up chat as we continue with the Treasury meeting, maybe that's an area where people can continue to ask Enrico questions. And Enrico, I obviously see web.skytale.finance, but if you want to post any further contact information on how to get a hold of you, that would be great too.
Nice, thank you.
So any questions in the next few minutes to Enrico? I did have one, which is, it's obviously in euros. Is it easy enough to change to the, into other fiat or even into crypto?
Yeah, of course. We currently support USD and Euro so far. But of course, I mean, the ambition is to support as many currencies as possible. So at the moment, it's only Euro and the USD, but yeah, in the future, more and more currencies will come.
Okay.
Yeah. Meanwhile, we wait for more questions. I didn't mention. It's also possible to configure a webhook. That means instead of opening the platform multiple times per day, you can get a notification directly on your Discord or on your Slack whenever there is a new incoming transaction or whenever a given wallet has sent a transaction.
All right. Well, I would ask, I'm going to tag Enrico on the chat, but if you have any additional questions, then certainly feel free to post them there. Enrico, if you want to post in the chat how to get a hold of you in other places, if you have a Discord server, that kind of thing, then that would be great to follow up to.
Fantastic, thank you.
So as we continue, please, feel free to ask questions the next couple of minutes if you do have them. Otherwise, is there a question?
Yeah, Enrico, I have a question for you.
Please.
When we are talking about the conversion, are these historical basis conversion or the real-time conversion?
Is a historical fiat conversion, and we are getting prices from CoinGecko. We are also working on integrating with chain analytics. Please.
Okay. When we are thinking about making reports and doing accounting, what all reports are we planning to do? Let's say I know there's a time, but then what all reports are we thinking when we are thinking about accounting?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we are working on a profit and loss report for personal accounting. Also, we are working with accountants in our region and other regions to generate reports that are compliant with the country tax law. Regarding exporting, it is also possible to connect with QuickBooks in order to import transactions directly there. Together with QuickBooks, we are also working on integrating with Zero for the UK market, Sage. Since we are based in Germany, we also plan to integrate with Dataflow.
Okay. It's when we are talking about the historical conversion, and do you think we would be able to do the accounting based on historical conversion? Let's say the Ethereum price was of $1,000 6 months ago, and it is now $500.
Mm-hmm.
And So how are we gonna match up the transactions value, like when we are talking about profit and loss or balance sheet or whatsoever?
Yeah, exactly. Part of the profit and loss report will be to understand the historical fiat price. For example, how much I paid for buying a token, and how much is currently valued. Then, combining together the historical fiat price and the current price, we will be able to understand the profit and loss.
How long, like, is there any particular other report except profit and loss when we are talking about accounting?
Cost acquisition cost, that is the asset acquisition cost is relevant for accounting according to the conversation we had so far. And yeah, I would say asset acquisition cost and profit and loss. Those are the major requests that we got so far.
Okay. And how long are we thinking when we are thinking like we are going to take to do these reports? How long it is going to take for us?
Definitely in Q1. They will be live both in at the end of Q1, at the end of March.
Okay, great. That's all for me.
Thank you.
Thank you, Enrico. And I'm posting sort of a follow-up question to that on the chat, but let's continue with updates, and we can maybe circle back if Enrico's going to stick around on any additional questions once we get through those. So, Nikhil, do you have any updates in accounting working group?
It's like with the accounting working group, like Ray was supposed to Ray had made a Loom video which I can showcase here. Like if everyone agrees to it, we can pass on to.
Let's post the link, just because time is a little bit short. If you could post the link in the Treasury page, and then people can take a look at it at their leisure. Is that? Do you need to be able to show it to us immediately for us to give you comments, or is there any other reason why we should look at it now?
No, there is actually no reason. Let
Okay.
me post it. Yeah, let's post
Okay.
in the group and yeah.
Okay. And then I know we did, both you and Iced, thankfully, presented the reports, and I think that they were received well. So congratulations to everyone who worked on that. Has there been any follow-up from other members of the BanklessDAO, either projects, guilds, or departments after those reports, with any questions or comments?
Yeah, there were actually quite a bit, and everybody. I think the biggest one was people were like, "Isn't somebody else run the Treasury management department?" And I was like, "Yes, actually, that is what happens." They're like, "Why wasn't he up there?" No, I'm joking.
Because I lost my voice.
I understand. Yeah, I'm just teasing. No, there were. I think a few people reached out. Joe and I think ThriveCoin are probably going to touch base with us down in accounting. There's a lot of kind of sentiment about people wanting to, adhere to like the accounting standards of practice. So it was a dry topic, but I think it was well received. The
And
most important topic.
Yes. I was just going to ask, sorry to interrupt, has there been any, are people finding the accounting working group channel, and are they communicating there with any questions or comments?
So it's like I have tagged all the accountants of all the guilds and projects, and it's like, but then like most of them have tagged the transaction, but then there are a few people who have been reluctant to do the work. It's like I don't know. It's like I've been asking them repeatedly, let's do it, and I know there are a few guilds which is getting hard for me to get the work done, and I don't know how to get around to do it.
Yeah, that's I think what we can do is we can always incentivize it, like say, hey, give some bounties. Two, I think you could probably say, hey, ugh, I don't know, man. It's tough. DAO problems.
It's like when we think about accounting, like tagging the transactions are the first step. So let's post like we have a budget of 60K as a bounty for accounting work group. So let's can we utilize those bounty for the accounting work group? Like I wanted to
Yes.
ask everyone. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
Feel free. And what I'd say is, just get confirmation from people, about the bounty, and like make sure they'll do it before, or make sure that they're up for taking a bounty for it, and then create the bounty for them and just track it.
Okay. It's like I also wanted to highlight that, like going through all the transaction, I found a few interesting attacks. It's like the like there was this transaction I found out where like a particular project needed loan of 100K bank from from a contributor. So we have developed a new tag as a loan in the like standard sheet, and like there have been like multiple partnership fee which people have incurred on the projects. Let's say like for example, Africa like received many partnership fees from like the other DAOs. So yeah, like things have been like good. Yeah.
Okay. So
And
my only suggestion on the bounties is that was sort of defined with a particular time requirement in terms of what we thought the expectations would be. So we just need to, as a group, decide what those bounties need to look like before they're posted. That's all.
Also, I'm wondering if a grant committee can set up a requirement for each guild or project, right? So basically, put those tagging as a requirement for complete seasonal work. So because this is supposed to be be done by each guild, it's not like actual work by them. So
Ruat, sir, you were saying something. Sorry
Yeah,
to.
no, you're fine. Whenever I hear the word mandate, I feel like, first of all, I agree with you that if people are using bankless funds, it's important for everyone to recognize that it needs to be accounted for, right? That's just it's not a fiduciary obligation, but there's an obligation on people to make sure that the funds are being used wisely and for the purposes that they were given. Therefore, I do actually think that there is an important responsibility of those people who accept funds to track them in the way that we need them to be tracked. That being said, I would leave it to the grants committee on whether or not they would agree, and we've got a few members here, I think, and whether that's I'm loath to put burdens on other groups to offload work that we're sort of creating. So I don't know if Sprinkles or Nat, or if you guys can speak to that, or who else is on grants committee that's here?
Yeah, I mean, Sprinkles probably has their own opinion too there, but at the moment, I thought initially, Nikhil, your approach was to approach other guilds and see, how to involve them and engage them in accounting, and I believe that was taken up across the board with a certain degree of enthusiasm. As much as enthusiasm as accounting can sort of elicit, but wouldn't it be an idea to just get people interested in the Treasury section, like Writers Guild and so on and so forth, to implement certain changes for now before we start ordering that across the board? Because that was my impression that you were doing, and you were gaining a certain degree of momentum.
Yeah, thank you for. Actually, I think that's an excellent point, Nanner, is to go back to our original work plan. It was, and I think we've done this for the Treasury department itself and hopefully for the main Treasury wallet for BanklessDAO as a whole. And Nikhil, you can correct me if I'm wrong. And then as we expand this, I understand the desire for completeness, and the longer it takes, the harder it's going to be. But to Nanner's point, let's make sure maybe the answer is that you feel like we're at that point, Nikhil. But if we feel like we have finally sort of solidified our processes, and now it's time simply to educate, then let us know here as a group, and then we can talk through that. Because what Nanner, I think, his concern is that we're still figuring out our own methodologies and processes, and so we don't need to roll things out and then have to change them later. But Nikhil, if you could let us know where we are on that.
So it's like as said before, when we are thinking about accounting, the first step is to tag, and we have already finalized a standard tagging sheet. But it's like I want to know what other ways we could like do or implement to make it a final process. What other things we need to do?
So, and I think to Nanner's point is, let's start with I'm sure you have a list, right? Because you know who's missing. So would it be possible for you just to produce a list of those that you're currently actively working with, that have reached out to you and are tagging, and then those that aren't necessarily as active or haven't communicated with you at all? I would like to, in terms of process, rank those by sort of number, the total bank represented by those groups, so we can focus on the ones that are especially important. I would hate to spend 80 hours going through a bunch of transactions for someone who has 100 bank. I would want to concentrate on the groups that are spending, 150,000 to 300,000 bank, that we need to go through for purposes of understanding where the money's going. So let's prioritize in that fashion. And that will give us some insight so we can make some decisions in terms of how to proceed. Does that make sense? And is that something that you have available?
Yes, sir. Like it's like I have all the I have already made a sheet goes by the name Guild Project Follow Up. I have already listed the work approach, like their contact, Discord IDs, and all. And also, I'm updating the task they are doing. And now talking about the seasonal spending, let me update the sheet with the seasonal update spending, and I'll just put the sheet link in the Treasury channel so that everyone can have look, and we can continue the works from there on.
Okay, and can you also post it in Notion, where I'm taking notes on that, just so that it's available there also?
Sorry, I did not get the question right, sir. You're asking me with the
Yes, yeah.
guild.
Yes,
Yeah.
you've been reaching out to other entities, the guilds mostly, and I was wondering, apart outside of Treasury, has there been, let's say, one guild at least that has taken up your ideas of implementing tags and creating accounting along the lines that you are proposing? Would you say?
Okay. It's like, so we were still in search of a accounting tool, and I have contacted all the guilds and projects so far. So it's like most of them have tagged the sheet, and once they tag the sheet, we'll continue with the the standard process of accounting, which we have done in the annual sheet of main treasury. Will follow the same procedure where once they tag all the transaction. That's the plan, but then I'll be ready to change if it needed be.
No, okay, thanks a lot for the info. I think what Greg says is absolutely correct. I mean, we sort of one has to see where one prioritizes the work, and I think getting out the content first before one goes into regulatory overdrive would be quite good, because that then convinces everyone else that may be a good thing.
So Nico, I wonder, so for the guild's projects, are they all using Parcel the Money, or are they using some else when they process payment?
Like you're asking me, like if they are tagging the transaction at the time of doing it?
No, at the time they're doing it. Yeah. So when they initiate the payment.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, like this is what we are trying to get everyone hold of. We are asking everyone to start tagging the transaction when they are doing it.
Yeah.
So it's like,
so just my suggestion, if we can recommend they all use the same payment system, right? Like Parcel the Money, when you download those transactions, or ask them to tag the transaction, we will have a share the same structure standard. So it will be much easier for you to sort transaction later. If they say one use Gnosis Safe, the other use Parcel the Money, when they create, to even do the tagging, it could be difficult for you to reconcile later.
yeah, that's so right. So like it's like so far the meeting we have had with guilds and projects, there have been just 2 or 3 projects which were not using Parcel, but they were using Gnosis Safe for the payments and all. So yeah, like let's ask them to convert the payment method to a standard gateway, which would be the Parcel for us as of now.
Yeah, I would. So what I just had a question there, or recommendation is, again, if they don't currently have one and they're open to it, I definitely strongly suggest that we help them onboard Parcel. If they do have a different system, can we at least indicate that in your tracking sheet if they're dead set on using it? For instance, I know Bankless Consulting has, because of their specific requirements, they have a different accounting system. They happen to use basically QuickBooks to be able to export and be compliant on a tax basis, but they're probably very unique. But there may be some others that have some slightly different requirements. We just need to know who they are so that we can develop a plan for them.
All right, sir. Like I'll also update this like a column in the sheet.
Perfect. Any other accounting updates or comments or questions?
It's like I wanted to bring up Sprinkles for now. It's like she tagged me in the GC channel. It's like there was Paul. I guess it was Paul who brought up the topic of like doing the accounting in some ways or something. Like, can we Sprinkle? Could you like tell us what was it about and like how can we do it?
So I'm really not exactly sure how you could do it. I just noticed that so grants committee has a bounty for their accounting, but if we are already in Treasury bounting out the accounting, it just seems like there's an overlap of payments there that could possibly be
okay
unnecessary.
Let's step back real quick and think about principles. And so obviously, accounting is important. The question that I would ask to this group is would you recommend to the DAO that accounting be organized in the accounting working group and budgeted there so that they can go out and support the accounting function across all of the various groups in the DAO? Or, and I think we've talked about this before, that those groups themselves would be responsible for their accounting and would need to implement a budget that accommodated taking care of that. And I actually think that's probably the better model, personally. And I go back to this, question of whether we can politely encourage people that if they are accepting funds, that there's a responsibility or a duty on them to make sure that those funds are spent in the way that they are allocated, which requires them to take care of accounting. And then the group here would exist to support the education and quality assurance efforts, and then the roll-up reporting as opposed to the transaction. So
it's really interesting what you're saying, and I think I dig it. I think because it's basically changing us from like a corporate accounting group to the IRS, and where everybody's got to report to, like the grants committee has the mandate, of both checking on projects and, distributing funds as in kind of like a Federal Reserve style, like however you want to make that metaphor work anyway. But that this group or Treasury, the Treasury Department, and is more focused on kind of like here's how you should do your accounting. Grants committee is more the enforcement module of that. Like, hey, you guys did not, as part of your resubmission for funding, you have to just showcase your accounting. Make sure and you can do that. One, submit your own, P&L and balance sheet, or two, just tag your dang transactions in parcel and we'll take care of it. But and then I think what I hear you saying is that the accounting basically becomes like an aggregating group of here's all the projects, here's how they've done, and here's how BanklessDAO has done at large.
Yeah, I hate the IRS.
I know
analogy, but yes, it basically sits above them to say, okay, are there any questions? When we roll things up, do we see any outliers? They become more of a forensics capability just to keep track of things and report to the DAO. So Sprinkles, this is sort of you'd asked how it gets done. That's my thought. I don't know if you have any reactions or comments.
Yeah, so I mean, I guess my first reaction is that if everyone's doing it themselves, there's different systems that they're using, and that would then disqualify those, like DWork, say for instance. DWork wouldn't be able to be used unless you're going to be doing double the work and then going in there and tagging.
Does DWork integrate with Parcel currently?
No.
Okay.
No, I think that's not true. I think they do. Yeah, they do.
I thought it did.
Yeah.
Really?
No, I think they're working on it, but not implemented yet.
Okay. So at Crypto Sapiens, we use it and we don't have it integrated, whether it's coming out or can be. I'm not, or recently has. I'm not sure. But so it would be, I guess limiting, maybe. But I also see that bank is being paid out to two different sets of people for doing the same thing. So I have a mixed opinion on it, I guess.
Well, and I think that the bounties, yeah, I hear your point. I mean, yeah. I think it's like if the group is incentivizing it already, then it doesn't need. I think more. This is just kind of like Nikhil's like, how do I do the dang thing? So,
yeah, I'll just.
So not even those bounties that we talked about today, just in general.
For sure.
If Treasury is doing it.
I was just going to say,
and I guess, go ahead, Ernest.
Generally, when folks are trying to encourage adoption of tools and cooperatives and decentralized ones, they provide educational spaces to help folks understand their role or the parts of their role that involve self-reporting and accounting. So, I think, generally the more folks understand their role, understand how important it is to self-report, and understand the processes for self-reporting and accounting that are available and very well done, then, you can create that space where people will adopt things because they understand the importance of it, rather than creating an authority structure That being said, I don't think it's a bad idea for a grants committee vetting process to be, if you're not providing proper accounting, you don't get additional funding. So like, I think there's an easy policy, and then due diligence in educating people that could encourage adoption.
Right, like a carrot and stick. I mean, I think we should always try to support. And I do think, because I think that what we're running into is a little bit of like we're herding cats, so acknowledging there's lots of challenges to all this, and then also to to assist in it. It may be worth us adopting something DAO wide and being like, to get funding you have to use this. It may not, but it's something at least like it's worth having as part of the conversation.
That's basically what I was trying to say, that we should engage with the guilds first, get as much traction there as we can on a voluntary basis, and then exactly as Ernest and Isko point out, once we gain that traction and there is a case, a clear case also, we can, for those who perhaps not so interested in adopting it at that time, start making it a requirement for funding going forward. That may be a more efficient model. I was also wondering what the grants committee has accounting aspects, and whether one should not at some point try to incorporate their activities in the accounting a bit more than is the case currently. But that's more Paul and Sprinkles, because they're the leads, so they're more engaged in that.
I'm also happy to facilitate or help facilitate, co-facilitate a accounting book club.
Nikhil, that's perfect. There it is. Give them the videos. Let them go.
Yeah, I just need somebody that's interested in presenting the material, and then I can help facilitate the space after ETH Denver.
Okay. I will just make an action item to check in on that, but I think that makes a lot of sense. And the Loom video has been posted, or will be posted here and in the Notion page. And then Nikhil, I don't know if you want to follow up with Ernest directly in terms of how to do that. Obviously, ETH Denver is going to take a lot of people's time, so might have to be delayed. The only other thing I would observe with this idea is we better make sure we have our own ducks in a row before we start strongly encouraging other people to adopt our process. I think we're getting there, and I don't want to dissuade it, but I like the idea of getting people to voluntarily cooperate with us until we really feel like our process is rock solid, and only then should we begin the strong encouragement phase of this to say, this is something that people really need to start doing in order to receive further funding. That could be an absolute disaster if we don't, and real, sort of egg on our own faces as a Treasury if we don't get that right.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I think, and there's only so much, like, it's like, one thing. I think that's it.
In your assessment, Grant, how far are we? I mean, let's take Treasury.
If I was going to say, we're probably 75 to 80% there. I mean, I think we've the vast majority of transactions have been tagged. We're in a correction phase just to make sure that things are appropriate. We've published draft reports and are seeking comment, and then we're automating the work process. So I don't think we're that far off, and I'm actually, very supportive of everything the accounting working group has done. So I'm not trying to say that we're not there. I just want to make sure before we start imposing that we have a more of a testing period as we roll it out to those people who haven't had. We've been doing this since July of last year, so let's give it a little bit of time before we just start implementing a rollout across the entire DAO. with some other groups.
Yeah. Once you feel comfortable with how it is and the system and the setup, if you just let us know, grants committee, and then we would probably, I haven't spoken to the others yet, but probably would be interested in jumping on there as well, into this, because I think we would welcome some kind of structure in addition to what we've got.
I think what we're hearing is there is an accounting working group that's been meeting, but we probably need to coordinate a slightly larger conversation, especially as we bring in other parties outside of Treasury to accommodate this. So let's try.
I also feel it's. So
Yes,
I also feel it's a bit difficult for the grants committee to come along, tell everyone else to use accounting if we ourselves are not on board.
Agreed.
Agreed. Yeah.
I mean, that's part of my concern is we really need to make comfortable as we roll this out, and I would like to roll it out slowly, starting with the higher priority departments. You're the one who's doing all the heavy lifting. What's your comment?
So like the accounting work group would love to have Ernest sir to have the education books and all to get ready. We'll wait for him to get done with the ETH Denver, and we'll start working with him. And and about the meeting, let's let's start on a smaller note. Let's just notify them and let's see who all can attend, and we'll make it a comfortable timing by making a let use meet group, which would work for most of them, if not for all.
Okay, it is 11 o'clock. I'm very mindful of other people's time, so I apologize for going a little bit over. Before we continue any further conversations, are there any comments on which I think this topic is actually most important right now? Any other comments or concerns or questions?
I think the only thing being is that I think that we can gain consensus with this. One, Nikhil, you're doing it from the ground up method. We can talk about it in the forum and just give kind of hey, we're thinking about saying, hey, parcel should be the default accounting method at the DAO. What does everybody think? Give the DAO a chance to respond. And I think that allows a space for debate and discussion. Because I think, the grants committee making a mandate, I think ideally would be should be done through a consensus at the DAO wide rather than top down from the grants committee, which I think may be not well received and hard. Although I think there's some debate in the grants committee around and at the DAO, I think, around the mandate and the powers of the grants committee, which is part of the Constitution, and pretty soon, and then suddenly we're talking about the big scale challenges at the DAO.
So the other method that the DAO uses to get to spread adoption of tools or processes is the how-to section of our wiki, and it would be great, I think, to have a how-to accounting section in the wiki, and then that creates, we can also push that content to the forums to make people more aware of it. And that's usually the responsibility of the folks that are bringing the tool or process into the DAO. But everything in the how-to guides is everything that's most commonly accepted in the DAO. So that's usually the first stage of getting educational content broadly distributed and accessible to members. In case folks didn't know, there's an awesome search bar in Notion. So yeah, just thought I'd point that out, that's common
Ernest,
practice.
would this be part of your sort of book group volunteer effort, is to help us kind of make sure that our resources are being put in the proper places so that people can access them easily?
If I can get the accounting work group to have the core content outlined, I noticed there's a couple videos, so if I can get some of that base content or get the accounting work group to write out the how-to, it'd be really easy for me to push it to the forums.
Okay.
I mean, I can, yeah. So that would be my biggest help, is if the accounting work group can agree on the information and just technical outline of the process, and then we can have.
Okay. It's like Ray and I would be making a group with the user. We'll also add the other member, Groatzer or I school sir, and we'll follow up with the these educational workarounds with you.
Okay, so just to be clear, I think the work plan after ETH Denver is at least immediately that we'll try to coordinate a larger group, possibly starting with grants committee, since they're the ones who are most, I think, outside of Treasury in making sure that this happens properly. The second would be to coordinate with Ernest on the educational materials, both to get a list get him what we've created already, but also get a list from Ernest that we might still need. And then the third would be, once we're sort of in a good position with grants committee, that we start. It will continue the conversations with all the groups that reach out to us, but once we're in a good position and the process is solidified, I think then we start the forum process to try to make sure that we get consensus with the DAO as a whole to standardize our practices. And I actually would differ. CryptoDad is. I agree that if they don't have a set process, that's fine. If they do have a set process and it works for them, really our question is how can we import those transactions into our system? I don't think they have to change their entire accounting system to sort of accommodate us. As long as there is a translator or a filter or some export process.
So I had reached out to Utopia Labs as well, because we are not able to find any good accounting tools. It's talking to the Kaito, he said that they can import import the tax sheet on which is of Excel from a parcel. And also if they are working on reporting, they'll let us know. This is a very doable thing to export the tax sheets in parcel, and the other platform would just import it and do the run the codes and prepare the reports out of it.
Okay, I think it's going to depend on, one, whether or not there are any people that are just dead set on their particular accounting system, and two, if they are, which one they're using and what's the best way to get that information into our system. So, but we can attack that problem if it's even a problem.
All right.
Okay. And are there everyone, the meeting's sort of over. I appreciate everyone sticking around, but if there are additional questions, I can remain available for the next, say 10 to 15 minutes.
Okay. It is just that, so we had the pods meeting today, and on a lighter note, if we are free, we can discuss. I reached the meeting late. Because I got notified. I saw the notification later. Can we have a little summary? What did we discuss, and how things are gonna be for us with pods?
Yeah. So we met with pods this morning from 9 to 10. It was their recommendation on a couple of strategies. Thank you, Enrico. I appreciate it. Their recommendation on a few strategies to manage the treasury of Bankless as a whole, with the goals of minimizing the downside risk with respect to using bank as a payout vehicle. And I'll explain the problem first, which is I think everyone recognizes that regardless of how we choose to pay, people's budgets are typically going to be in fiat because their costs, their food, their rent, their heating costs are all going to be in fiat. So what we've seen is this budget inflation that as bank price drops, or as macro conditions worsen and all of crypto price drops, that those budgets are increasing in terms of fiat, which are requiring greater bank. So the entire conversation was related to, is there a way to mitigate that problem, to hedge against downside risk in a way that minimizes our expenses for the hedge and protects the principal that we have currently in such a way that we can plan a little bit better and our budgets aren't impacted by as much by the macro environment because of those hedges. That's my very long-winded summary. And Tessa, you were going to stick around. I don't know if you have questions. There is a presentation that they offered to, at least to present to the group. I to see if it can be something that we can post in the forum. I don't know because it's not my intellectual property. So they may or may not want to make that more public.
All right, great. So it's like when they're like suggesting us these strategies, what kind of, well, it's like more like, it's like they're asking us not to use bank token as a payout.
No,
What could be
no. That wasn't that's not it. In the following way,
okay.
decided to take in two ways. One is we either recognize that we have to increase the amount of bank that we emit, and budget proposals have increased, or we impose that on other individuals and say, well, we're only going the same bank that we have in the past, which means that people are dissuaded from continuing to work with the organization. So it's an attempt to get around those issues associated with the basis risk between expenses being fiat and payments being in bank. The part that you might have missed is one aspect to that is to create a reserve of currencies that are in your cost basis, in this case, either USDC or Ethereum, and to use that reserve to pay for hedges in such a way that if bank were to drop, that we at least have a decent proxy for bank, that we can purchase a set of financial instruments where as the bank price drops, the hedge instrument increases in value, so that we can effectively mitigate that price drop. So let me give an example. Let's say that we owe $100, but it's payable in bank, and bank is a dollar per bank, which I would love, but let's just to make the math easy. And then bank drops to 50 cents. So instead of paying out 100 bank, we now have to pay out 200. That needs to be sold on the market in order to pay for the expenses, which puts more price pressure on bank, and it gets into a vicious cycle. Alternatively, if we had a hedge that said if the price of bank were to drop by 50 cents, we would be paid, say, $1.50. And those instruments exist. They just have to be priced efficiently. Then we would be able to accommodate the price drop. We could create the buy pressure necessary to purchase the amount of bank, and at the same time be able to pay out the rebased bank in the currency as it's denominated. So I don't know where the price would end up, because we're basically buying 100 bank from the market to pay it out to have someone sell it. So there's probably a good OTC, to sort that out.
That is interesting. So this was interesting.
So Tessa, I don't know if you're still around, if you have any concerns or you want to talk about that, here in the forum, or we can talk later.
Yes, sir. Okay,
Okay.
we are 8 people. Okay, yeah.
All right. Well, I think I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm going, unless there's other comments or questions, I'm going to go ahead and drop soon.
No,
Hey,
that's
Gurad,
great. Yeah.
Yes.
I missed the first part of the meeting. I saw on the agenda that there was an issue, unprecedented issue with the Dash payment. Is there anything I need to be aware of on that?
No. It's the only, I wanted to comment that it actually finally went through. What happened
Oh,
was
good.
our MetaMouse vendor there was a problem on their side. So we paid it, but they didn't pay Dash. I was informed 2 days ago that they were paying it out yesterday. So I'm following up with Dash, making sure that they receive payment. But I've been sort of on top of that over the next.
Great. Thanks for staying on top of that. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
You know, and on that prior conversation, that's one of those things where it's affected me, and I'm not bitching. I just wanted to give you some awareness. So it had been on my personal credit card for several seasons, and you know, you talked about the reimbursing in bank and stuff, and people are basically losing money on that. I've lost actually several $1,000s because of paying for things in fiat and then being reimbursed in bank, and I have not recovered that yet. So I'm not complaining. I'm just making that an awareness thing that it makes a person very reluctant to pay off chain expenses when we're losing money by doing it.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree with you. And actually, I don't know if you've brought that up in any way, but I don't.
I brought it up a year ago.
Okay, this is my, and I wasn't even around.
Right, I know.
But that's not something I personally think that people should. They shouldn't have to take on the liabilities of the DAO themselves, and certainly if they volunteer to do so, they shouldn't be punished for having taken it on. So I would ask if you're inclined to send me some of the details, and we can go back and look at the historical payments versus what your expenditures were. And I would at least sponsor to make you whole on that.
Okay, well, I appreciate that. I'm super busy getting ready to go to ETH Denver, and I'm really interested in these accounting solutions too. And so I've got my ears open on all kinds of stuff on the ground up there. So, yeah, anyway, thanks a lot. I know you got to go. I got to go too, but I really appreciate your help, Rod, and straightening out, especially with the billing, even after we paid it, then they had an issue. So thank you so much for following up on that. I wouldn't have been able to do it.
Not a problem. Thank you.
All right, awesome. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
I'll follow up with you soon.
Okay, good deal.
Thanks.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.